Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 20th January 2021. The first article for discussion is A Plaintive Lament on Liberty That Rings Hollow. This article is related to rule of law and different treatment of the people by the Supreme Court. You know, whenever your rights are violated, you can directly go to the Supreme Court under Article 32. A writ petition called habeas corpus, it protects the citizens of their personal liberty. In this context, human liberty is an important value or ingredient of our constitution. Supreme Court made important remarks in offering bail to Mr. Arnab Goswami. If I have to read them out, the writ of liberty runs through the fabric of the constitution. Bail is the expression of humaneness of the justice system. Deprivation of liberty even for a single day is one day too many. These are the exact words stated by Supreme Court. But the same bail is not offered to Mr. Varavar Rao, Ms. Sudha Bharadwaj, and many other people who are arrested in Bhima Koregaon issue, are anti-CAA protesters, are people protesting the repeal of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, and then students of JNU, etc. So is Supreme Court treating people differently is the question over here. What will happen when Supreme Court brings in an attitude that show me the man, I'll show you the law? Then it is going to break the rule of law in the country. So the Supreme Court's differential treatment of law to the different people is violative of the rule of law, and it is going to undermine legal equality and democracy in the country. That is the essence of this article. India-Nepal relations in a new transition. According to author, the developmental programs between these two countries are taking a new route, or they are getting deepened. These developmental programs, if they are associated with stable political system in Nepal, obviously it will deepen the relations between the country. Recently, India-Nepal Joint Commission meeting was held, and two foreign ministers discussed about all the pending developmental projects and also expanded them. What are the developmental projects? That is, first is connectivity. India and Nepal are working on rail connectivity, connectivity through petro pipelines, integrated checkposts for trade connectivity, etc. Added to that, hydroelectric power projects, multi-purpose power projects are also on the table. Pancheshwar Dam is being built by India. Pashupatinath riverfront development. In rail connectivity, a broad gauge Roxol Kathmandu Broadway, Jayanagar Kurta rail line which moves to or which goes through Janakpuri. Petro pipelines from Motihari to Amlekganj. All these are the projects which are taken up by India. In this scenario, excessive interference of Communist Party of China, or China in a nutshell, in the recent crisis of Nepal did not yield dividends to Mr. Oli or did not yield any dividends to opposition. So it can delegitimize the role played by the China in Nepal. In this context, if Nepal is a stable democracy or a constitutional monarchy, if India is playing a good faith or goodwill diplomacy, it can work for both the countries. That is what this article states. In bad faith, you know, farmers are protesting on outskirts of Delhi, and most of these farmers are from Haryana and Punjab. Many people in government, they are making accusations that they are misled by the opposition or these are supported by pro-Khalistani elements. So slowly a pattern is developing to call these agitating farmers as anti-national. Now NIA has come into picture, a central government agency. It is filing cases and adding these people as witnesses to appear in the court. So it means the state is using its authority to intimidate the farmers who are protesting. How the state shall act with farmers, it has to bring them to the table and take them into confidence in good faith. So the take home point is, intimidation is a wrong way of solving differences, policy or other differences that are existing in the country. The dialogue has to replace intimidation, and government has to call the farmers for dialogue in good faith. That is the essence of this article. A stress test for American democracy. The most beautiful point which I liked in this article is, like every garden, how it is nurtured, a friendship has to be nurtured, a democracy also has to be nurtured. So democracy cannot be taken for granted. It has to be carefully nurtured in any country. If you take how the democracies got destroyed across the world, there is a pattern visible. First, democracy pushes itself into populism, and populism slowly turns into majoritarianism, and this majoritarianism slowly forms itself into authoritarianism, and then finally overthrowing of democracy. So this is what is the pattern of movement from democracy to authoritarianism. So in this case, the populism and mobocracy are the greatest threats to democracy. If democracy shall not spill into populism, mobocracy, and finally into authoritarianism, this has to be carefully nurtured, tended as like a garden. In this case, the divides which are being created by Mr. Trump among the racial segments of United States of America finally culminated into an attack, insurrection on the symbol of democracy, that is Capitol Hill, that holds Congress. And the second, Trump may be out of the office. The Trumpism, which is rooted in majoritarianism in America, is expected to continue, which is rooted in racial divides, is expected to continue. In this case, the Grand Old Party or Republican Party failed to stand to the ideals of democracy. In this context, it has a big challenge or existential crisis. It has to keep the Trump or Trumpism away, but has to continue with the supporters of the Trump. The second biggest problem is the social media. The social media has become instrumental in deepening these divides and dividing the people like never before. They have provided for different facts to different people based on their interests, and there was no common ground for the people to meet. So that's where the social media also need to be regulated through a new law. This is what author is trying to say. The threat of deep fakes. What are these deep fakes? These are artificial intelligence developed material which look like real. You cannot differentiate this fake from the real. So these are called as deep fakes. So these deep fakes are creating some kind of the problem in the minds of the people, and they are going to destroy the character of the individuals or their prestige or respect they enjoy in community. They divide the communities like never before. In this case, artificial intelligence is becoming a tool for this. The same artificial intelligence can be used to detect the deep fakes, but a motivation is necessary to detect fakes. This motivation has to come into Google, Facebook, Instagram, etc. How they get these motivation? The answer is very simple. So make them involved in this. It means the platforms like Facebooks, etc., they shall be made accountable for the content which is posted on that platform. As on today, the existing legal framework is the platforms are not responsible for the content which is there on their websites, etc. So make them accountable. And second, these deep fakes are also destabilizing political order. So in this context, it has to be made as a crime to destabilize political order or to divide and promote violence among the communities. So a strong legal framework is the need of the hour, and AI has to be directed towards countering the deep fakes rather than promoting them. Expression of views, not bias. So CJI has stated that the members of committee to discuss or negotiate with farmers and government might have expressed their opinions. These opinions can be changed. Expression of an opinion by an individual shall not be considered as bias. And then Supreme Court also has laid a roadmap on the farmers issue. So this 2 months roadmap, it is going to discuss with the farmers and government representatives to find a middle path and to suggest the court. Cancer care pioneer no more. Dr. V. Shanta, who lived all her life in a dormitory in Adayar Cancer Center and dedicated her life to give better treatment for the cancer suffering people or patients, has passed away at the age of 93 in Chennai. and she is most remarkable woman in fighting cancer in India. Investment rule changes may hit Amazon. So Amazon is an e-commerce giant. So the fear which was expressed when e-commerce have come into India is the brick and mortar shops may get shut down. Then government has given certain safeguards. These e-commerce giants shall act as intermediaries between sellers and buyers. But they shall not be as sellers directly by themselves. See carefully. Amazon cannot produce and sell a good by itself directly. It has to procure and sell from the sellers to the buyers. It means it has to act only as an intermediary. But over a period of time, these e-commerce giants developed huge inventories for themselves. So these inventories are being collected from sellers, are manufactured by themselves, stocked and sold to the buyers. Obviously, the level playing field may not exist between small brick and mortar shops and these big e-commerce giants which have trillions of dollars in their pockets. So that's why India is looking at changing the rules of this e-commerce. That is what going to hurt Amazon. That is the essence of this article. These are the topics for discussion today. This is Dr. Rambabu signing off for Law Excellence IAS.